Tonight on Connecticut's news station, we are following two breaking news stories now at 6. An attempted robbery ends with one suspect shot and another still on the run.
Plus, former President Donald Trump arraigned in Miami on charges accusing him of having classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. And tonight he's pleaded not guilty to all of those charges.
But before we get to that, we do want to check in on the weather. Thanks so much for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. We're in a weather watch alert here tonight. It was nice and sunny out today across the state, but looking ahead to tomorrow, scattered showers and storms are expected to roll on in.
We want to send it right over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank with an update for us. Rachel.
Yeah, we really want to give everyone a heads up about this, especially because there is so much going on outside this time of year. You have outdoor graduations, you have field days, so we want to make sure that you're up to date on the timing of this. It will be tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening with showers and thunderstorms, and some of those, a few, may briefly turn severe. While this isn't a high-end severe weather day, we're going to keep a close eye on the radar between 1 to 8 p.m. If you have outdoor plans, just make sure you have a plan B so you can bring the party inside if you need to. In terms of impact, in some of the stronger storms that develop, there could be some 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts and some small hail. But in any of the showers and storms that develop, we're talking about the chance for locally heavier downpours and rumbles of thunder. It's from this, which doesn't really look like too much at this time. It's just an area of swirling showers. By the time it gets here, it will get a little more oomph. Temperatures right now are in the 70s across the state. Less humid air is streaming in, especially where you see dew points in the 50s. That's where there is more refreshing air compared to the humidity that we started off the day with. Heading through the evening tonight for the news at 11, temperatures are in the upper 60s. More comfortable to start off the day tomorrow. We'll begin in the 50s. This morning we started in the 60s with all that humidity, but the humidity does slowly build back in again. And while I think we're dry for much of the morning, heading through the afternoon, it's a different story. We'll show you the future radar and more showers and storms for Friday and potentially Saturday too coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Now to breaking news here tonight. Former President Donald Trump speaking out tonight after pleading not guilty to all federal charges that he illegally kept classified documents inside of his Florida estate.
It's a rigged deal here. We have a rigged country. We have a country that's corrupt. We have a country that's got no borders. We have a country that's got nothing but problems.
Fox's Lauren Blanchard's outside the courthouse in Miami, Florida, with details from today's arraignment.
A historic moment as Donald Trump is now the first former president to face a judge on federal charges. Hundreds of Trump supporters turned out loud and in force outside the federal courthouse in Miami, where former President Trump made his first appearance for his handling of classified documents.
I think it's a rigged deal here. We have a rigged country.
Facing 37 counts, Mr. Trump surrendered to authorities for his formal arraignment. Marshals taking his fingerprints and uploading an existing photograph which will not be released. At no time was he handcuffed. Facing a magistrate judge, Trump entered a not guilty plea.
They likely waived the formal reading of the indictment. He had counsel present. He entered a plea of not guilty. And at that moment, he demanded what we call you demand trial by jury.
Before heading to court, Mr. Trump took to Truth Social, writing, quote, "One of the saddest days in the history of our country. We are a nation in decline." The former president is charged with violating the Espionage Act, obstruction of justice, willful retention of national security information, and more.
We have seen the rise of politically motivated prosecutors who don't care for impartiality. They have been quietly but aggressively cultivating a two-tiered system of justice.
If convicted on all counts, Trump could face decades in jail and millions in fines. In Miami, Florida, Lauren Blanchard, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Lauren. And coming up at 6:30, we are talking to criminal defense attorney Jim Bergen about the Trump indictment and what it means for the former president going forward. Stick around for that.
Also, breaking news in Hartford, where a portion of Park Street is closed after a botched jewelry store robbery left a would-be suspect in critical condition. Fox
61 has been on the scene gathering information from police and neighbors. Samaya Hernandez joining us live from Hartford Police Department with what we know so far. Samaya.
Yeah, Jen and Ben, we just moved over to Hartford Police Department because that scene just cleared up minutes ago, but police had been on Park Street for more than 7 hours, and they had several sections of Park Street blocked off. They were collecting shell casings from one side of the street, but this jewelry store incident happened on another side. Again, all of that opening up just minutes ago, but this all unfolded this morning around 10:30 when police say 2 would-be robbers went into a jewelry store there and pistol whipped an employee who later opened fire on them, sending one of them to the hospital in critical condition. Now, police are searching for a second suspect. Again, all of this happening on Park Street. And this is an area where we typically see dozens of people walking about at any given time of the day. Police tell us that those 2 people entered Exquisite Pressure, a jewelry store, just as that store was opening. And that's when they reportedly pistol whipped that employee, who then fired shots at the suspects. Again, one of those suspects in critical condition at the hospital. Police say a second person ran away before investigators arrived.
Employee fired rounds at the suspects, striking one of them. The store employee did remain on scene and is cooperating with the investigation. The second party that rushed the store is outstanding at this point, meaning he fled on foot. We do not have him.
Park Street been here for a long, long time. A lot of Spanish people been living here for a while. I feel so.
And police say they are reviewing security cameras in the area. They say that employee that was involved in this incident is fully cooperating with the investigation. We're live in Hartford. I'm Samaya Hernandez, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Samaya. New tonight, Hartford police say that they've arrested a man accused of shooting and killing an Avon man and injuring another person back in 2019. 36-year-old Gino McMahon charged with the death of Eros Diaz, who was killed on Winship Street in June of 2019. Diaz was 25 at the time. His family had been offering a $500,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. McMahon is being held on $3 million bond.
Well, the man accused of hitting and killing a mother and son last year in Montville faced a judge this morning. The 2 had pulled over to help a driver when another car crossed over the shoulder and hit them. Police say the driver had several drinks before getting behind that wheel. Fox 61's Lindsay Kane spoke to the victims' families and shares their message tonight.
He just lost everything. Everything was taken from him, his whole future and everything.
It's been 9 months since 33-year-old Jamie Krajewski and her 17-year-old son Tyshawn Harper pulled over to help a disabled driver and then were killed by another driver who crossed over the shoulder of the road on I-395 in Montville.
It's just very devastating to deal with, and I mean, we're still coping with it.
Now that driver, 29-year-old Darion Coker from Rhode Island, is facing several charges. Police said he had several drinks at Mohegan Sun before getting behind the wheel.
And then 20 minutes later, he went and took an innocent 17-year-old's life and a mother of 5.
According to the arrest warrant, Coker texted someone saying he was, quote, lit and, quote, had to focus super hard to get home. He is free on a $200,000 bond. The Krajewski family sitting in the courtroom Tuesday morning, wearing shirts to honor Jamie and Tyshawn. Jamie's brother Roland says he hopes no other family has to experience what they're going through.
Yeah, I just really hope people think twice about drinking and driving, but just really think about what could really happen and what you could do to innocent people.
He says the charges don't bring closure to their family. Jamie's 4 other children are still trying to grieve the loss of their mom and brother, who was supposed to graduate high school last Thursday.
And it was so quiet. I know it should have been young for a lot of the boys there. And the seat was empty, but he had his cap and gown in uniform.
Coker is next due back in court July 28th. He declined any comment on the case. In Norwich, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Lindsay, thank you. New details tonight about a fatal fire in Vernon. Police have identified the victim as 66-year-old Joel Kerr. He was found dead inside of his home on Hanny Lane after a fire broke out late Sunday night. The fire marshal is still investigating what caused the fire.
And new details out of Meriden. Police have identified the body found in the Harbor Brook River yesterday. 40-year-old Joseph Stedman was found yesterday. Police say he had a history of medical issues. There were no obvious signs of foul play, but police say they are still investigating.
One person is dead in Waterbury after a car crash involving a car and a box truck. It happened on Lakewood Road just before 6 o'clock this morning. Police say one of the drivers was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. She was pronounced dead a short time later. Her identity has not been released as of now. Police say the other driver had non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the crash is still under investigation.
An update tonight. The Norwalk official accused of shooting and killing her neighbor has rejected the state's offer of 40 years in prison. Ellen Wink rejecting the plea deal in court this morning. She is facing charges in the death of Kurt Lametta. Wink was the local deputy Republican registrar on the city registrar of voters and elections administration for the city of Norwalk. She will now head to trial. A date has not yet been set.